Welcome back, everybody. Episode 30 of Sports with Skiz. We're cruising right along here. This episode, we are going to be not recapping, excuse me, but we're going to be going over some of the games that are happening this weekend, week 12 of college football. Before we jump into that, Knock and I got some fisticuffs to throw real quick. Backyard Brawl comes on here in less than 2 hours, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am not feeling as confident as I was with Pitt football, and you saw how that went, Knock. So, I really don't got much shit to talk, to be honest with you. Both these teams feel like they're like brand new.
Yeah, man, they're brand new and offenses have been struggling heavily, So to the fans out there, you know what that means. Hammer the over, uh, put the savings on it, put your bank on it, because it's going over 134 tonight, baby. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at that actually to see what action I wanted to throw on, and I'm kind of liking that over. I think it's at what 133, did you say?
Yeah, 33 or 34, one of the two.
Yeah,
I'll take
I couldn't
either.
remember. Yeah, and it's like for this game, I want to say it's like I don't know. I feel like it could be close because it's a rivalry, but um, I feel like over the past, like, what this is the fourth year of them playing, I feel like they've kind of been blowouts for the most part. I mean, Pitt won last year, I believe, 86 to 62. I know at one point West Virginia beat Pitt 81 to 60 to 56, excuse me. So I really don't know how this game is gonna go, to be honest with you. West Virginia won the first, or wait, I see, wait, they played 21, 22, 23, 24.
Yep, I'm looking at the
Is this
same
right?
thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is the fifth meeting. Excuse me. Sorry, fellas. I didn't really I forgot that they came back before Pitt and West Virginia football. But yeah, West Virginia's won two. They won the first two. Pitt's won the last two, and the closest game in this has been around 15 points. So they've been pretty much blowouts for the most part. So it'll be interesting. I was talking to you obviously earlier. I think Cam for Pitt, the big man, he's going to have to step up in a big way. They really don't have a guard that they could look to kind of take over a game or get a bucket when they need to. Brandon Cummings is coming back. He missed the last game due to injury. So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I told you next year I'm looking forward to Pitt basketball. They got the number 6 recruiting class, I think, as of today, with all their signees coming in. So next year should be on the up and up for Pitt basketball, but I won't hold my breath with that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting matchup for the most part. You nailed it on the head with, the fact that Pitt is having trouble at the guard play. However, they dominate inside the paint, and West Virginia really only has one big that's made any contribution in Harlan Obioha. So I'm interested to
Hmm.
see in the dynamic. These are two completely different ball teams. West Virginia extremely guard heavy. I mean, we've got guys like Honor Huff, Jasper Floyd. He's a forward, but Brennan Lorient, he's a guy who could play the three. And he's just such a bucket. He's the leading scorer for West Virginia. So it is. It's going to be interesting to see how Pitt packs the paint.
Hmm.
Can they get buckets inside, and then can they get I'm sorry, can they get my guy in foul trouble there, Harlan Obioha? Because then West Virginia's bench and their depth at that center position is in question.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So Cameron Corden, he's going to have to step up big. He's averaging a double-double right now. And then my boy, one of the best names, I believe, in college basketball, Papa Kente, he's going to have to show up big as well. He's a big rebounder, like 6'11" down there. But it'll be interesting. Pitt really does have they've played a lot more depth than they have in years past, and they have three freshmen who get a decent amount of playing time as well too. So very inexperienced team. They have some leadership, I guess, with some transfers and stuff with DeMarco Minor coming in there, but say la vie, we shall see here. But that's enough with basketball. We already talked about that. Let's move on to some of these games. We're gonna kind of do it a little bit different here. We're gonna kind of talk back and forth, do a little freestyle action for you guys here. Not really just give my games of the week or Naka's, but we're just gonna go over a couple of games here since there is a decent slate upon us here. So starting off, I did want to give a shout out to our boy Shane Baker. Obviously, if you guys listen, we interviewed him earlier this year, the special teams guy at Old Dominion. They do play tonight minus 10.5 against Troy. Just out of pure friendship, I would take Old Dominion. I don't really have much to talk about on this game, but I wanted to make sure I gave him a little bit of a shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed that too, man. So, we're all Dominion fans over here now. That's set in stone and for life.
Yes, sir. Yes,
For
sir.
life.
Go Monarchs. So, starting off, Knock, I know that you really like this game. Talking about Clemson going on the road tomorrow, Friday, November 14th, at Louisville. So, Louisville's looking to bounce back. Right now, the spread is Louisville minus 2.5. Excuse me. The over under is 51.5. So, go ahead and kick us off here, Knock.
Yeah, man, it's just kind of fitting. Clemson's so bad all year. I've said it about 10 to 12 times on the pod so far. They're horrible. It's a toss-up ball game, though. Clemson on the road. I'm sure everybody's going to take and hammer Louisville. Listen, Miller Moss, 11 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. The guy doesn't know if he wants to be good or not. Just battling some inconsistency issues. Their running game. Isaac Brown, their starting running back, is out. However, they do have a backup running back, Keywan Brown. He's got almost
Mhm.
500 yards, 6 touchdowns, so they can still run the ball. Clemson's defense, my gosh, front seven was supposed to be good coming into the year. They're not bad. If you really break down, they're not horrible.
Yeah, that's their best part of their defense. Not to cut
Right,
you off
right, and
here,
and
but
they
not
can.
not what it was supposed to be.
Not at all. Not at all. And there's holes. And that's basically the point. If Louisville can get the running game going, I think Louisville also has a better special teams as well. Keep the ball out of Clemson's hands. Clemson has been starting to score points a little bit more as the weeks have gone on. I think their offense is starting to click a little bit. So, I'm going to take Louisville on the money line here, bro. But, I'm just not like the biggest Miller Moss guy.
Yeah, no, me either. I was going to say in his last three games, he has three interceptions. So he's thrown a pick in each of those games and he only has two touchdowns. So he looked really bad against Cal. It was funny. I was on TikTok and I saw a guy that was at the game was recording some of the fans and it looked like they were about to pass out with how Miller Moss was playing. They were not happy. He only completed 52% of his passes too. So it'll be interesting to see. Louisville's defense still holds strong. Overall, they do rank, in the top 25 with a lot of categories, more specifically overall yards given up. But one thing that I do think halts them a little bit more is just the play of Miller Moss, how he has been, and then they get a ton of penalty yards. They're ranked 109th in the FBS with just over 63 penalty yards a game. So that's not really going to cut it. And these Friday games, man, they're so weird. You would call it an upset for Clemson, which is weird to say, but I think I would take Clemson either plus the points or even on the money line as well too. These Friday night games are weird. I do get that Louisville is a decent environment to play in. They get the crowd behind them. It's a night game. I'm sure they'll probably come out dressed in all black or something, but I'm going to roll out here with the Tigers. And I mean, I really don't feel that confident about this game, to be honest with you.
I agree, man. There's nothing about Clemson that that you should feel confident about. You know what I mean? But it's like you said, it's Friday. It's one of those games, man, and it's conference play too.
hmm Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we shall see. Moving on to Saturday games. I did want to start here just because it is a noon kickoff and it has a decent amount of hype behind it. I'm a little bit nervous. Obviously, I'm talking about the Notre Dame Fighting Irish traveling to our home state in the hometown, Pittsburgh Panthers. This game should be interesting right now, which is I feel like this is kind of wild, but Notre Dame is minus 12 and a half. The over under is 53 and a half. So there's a lot of hype to this game. There's, college game day is going to be here. The atmosphere looks pretty crazy. I'm going to pause for 1 second just to throw a little bit of shade at two fan bases. I know you're not one of these people, but the guys that are online that I see on Twitter for the most part, I'm talking about the West Virginia fans and the Penn State fans are absolute losers. Like if West Virginia or Penn State was hosting college game day, no Pitt fan would really be talking about it at all. Like, congrats, it's awesome. I'm in there seeing how awesome would it be if us and Penn State fans got together and ruined Pitt's little college football game day. It's like, bro, go worry
Ah,
about your losing season. I get you beat Pitt. Go worry about that Penn State who always says that they're unrivaled. They got a guy on Twitter that just dedicates talking shit to Pitt. It's just loser activity. So I just kind of had to throw a little bit of shade there. Again, if the tables were reversed, Pitt would not give a shit about what's going on down in Morgantown or over in State College. Just worry about getting your first power conference win if you're Penn State and West Virginia. See if you could keep building momentum to next year. But I am excited. We got two young studs at quarterback with CJ Carr and Mason Heinchel. Both of these guys are obviously electric. CJ Carr has just looked so good as of late. He's just grown with confidence. It seems like Jeremiah Love is getting more confident as well too. He's about to eclipse 1,000 yards. So I don't know. This is going to be an interesting game. It's Mason's not his first test, really. I mean, he's played not a team that's as good as this, but he went into a weird environment down in Florida State, looked really good, and he's just been lighting the world on fire. I mean, he's that guy. So it'll be cool to see the Pitt defensive run game, a run stop team, I guess I should say, against Jeremiah Love. Because if you're looking at it from a numbers standpoint, Jeremiah Love has been on fire. But one thing that I will say is Pitt, I think, ranks in the top 5 in their rushing defense. They don't really give up a ton of chunk plays. The way that I think that they could get beat is going to be over top with CJ Carr, opening up that pass game.
Is CJ Carr, I mean, do you trust him that much as a passer though?
I mean,
because I'll be honest, I feel like that game against A&M to kick off the season, he performed at a very high level. I guess he had a couple multi-100-yard games in there, but I just feel like they're so run heavy, run dominant. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a mix, bro. So he has 2 games where he's thrown for over 340 yards. He got one for 293, 299, 218. He didn't really have to do too much against Navy because of the run game. He threw for 218 yards and 3 touchdowns. I just think he doesn't no picks in the last 2 games. So I'm hoping he gives us something to work with here. I think he just does a really good job at making the right decisions. Kind of similar to Mason Heinchel. I will say Mason Heinchel does risk it a little bit and will throw some interceptions, but I like that out of a young quarterback. You got to get those mistakes out of the way. Pitt has had a week to prep for this game, so it's going to be interesting to see. Another thing that Pitt's getting a lot of backlash on was Narduzzi coming out here and getting asked basically, if would you rather lose to Notre Dame so then you win out in the ACC, get to the championship, and then have a chance at the playoff? To which he was like, I'd get beat 110-10 if I could do that. Which, knowing Narduzzi and being a diehard Pitt fan, there's about a 95% belief in my system that he was just trolling, and people don't understand that. It's not great to hear it out loud, but that's something that I could also see where he's saying that out loud here, and then behind closed doors, he's telling this team a whole different thing. It gives them a belief. Go out there and have fun. You're playing on a high stage in front of a packed house. Go out there and show people why you're getting the recognition that you're getting. And I think it's only going to light a fire under Mason Heinchel, to be honest with you, and the defense, not to mention they are getting Rasheem Biles back as well, too, at linebacker. So he's missed the last 2 games, so that'll be huge.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things about this game that are interesting to me. Two numbers for Notre Dame. First and foremost, Notre Dame is 9th in the country in turnover differential at +10. All right, where Pitt ranks 79th at -1. So you guys are going to have to figure out a way to get the ball back defensively. You were talking about Mason Heinchel maybe potentially throwing some interceptions. He throws the ball around the field. He's not going to play it safe. They're not going to have him just throw bubble screens and flare routes to the running back. They're going to have this kid throwing 10, 15, 20 yards downfield, stretching it out versus that Notre Dame defense. And I like you said, I like it. I like it, especially for a freshman. They let him go out and play. Cool. Because in 2 years, 3 years, I can only imagine where this kid's going to be, right? Another number that jumps off the paper to me, Mike, Notre Dame is 3 wins and 6 losses against the spread. I'm just saying, Pitt money line is interesting to me here. 12.5 is super, super weird. You think that's coverable? You think, a team like Notre Dame can win by 13? Sure. I don't think that's how it's going to happen. I first of all, this is a daytime game. Trouble. That's trouble for Notre Dame. I would prefer this game be a night game. As I'm not even a Pitt fan, but I would love to see Pitt play at night. But I think Pitt playing during the daytime, with all the atmosphere, with all the energy in the stadium, Notre Dame is going to come out flat. here's my last thing. Can Pitt get their running game going? Because Notre Dame is good. Pitt's rushing offense isn't the greatest. There is a major gap in between Notre Dame and Pitt's run game. If you can get Desmond Reed going or whoever your backup is, because I know Reed's been battling injury throughout the season,
Hmm.
and keep that pressure off of your freshman quarterback versus such a good team. I'd like to see Mason ultimately throw about 27 passes. I feel like that's a good mix. I don't want him
Hmm.
throwing for 40 passes or 44, but we'll see how the game plays out. I like Pitt to cover. I like Pitt money line. Sprinkle it.
Yeah, I don't want to give out anything here. I'm superstitious. I really haven't been talking about Pitt much. I haven't been saying what I'm going to take here, but I will say Ja'Carrion Turner, the backup that you were talking about, true freshman running back, he has been picking up some good strides as of late. The offensive line had faced some injuries, but he had 100 yards against Stanford, which will help him out the week before the bye. And then another thing is, I know Pitt's turnover differential looks ugly. They have forced 10 interceptions on the
Okay.
year. So I'm
Okay.
hoping that they could get to CJ Carr, get some pass rush in there with Kyle Lewis. He's been steady. Hit him a little bit, get him flustered, and we'll see what happens. But I'm really, really excited. I am going to be watching this game from the pleasure of my own home. I got people, you going to the game? You going to college game day? No, I'm old now. I want to watch it from the pleasure of
I
my own home. I
That's
want to be
funny.
able to
I
drink
you know
beers.
what? I was actually thinking like, damn, if I don't have anything going on Saturday, I was thinking of hitting you tomorrow night. Like, what's up? What's the move? Um, I don't know, dude. You might have to take 45 minutes to an hour out of your day and go check it out, bro.
Nah, I did that. I did that already. With the backyard brawl and everything like that. The
Okay.
first year that it came back, college game day. I'm just so I don't know. I don't like being around the crowd anymore. Really, with I got people talking that don't really know ball that are just annoying drunk fans or trying to fight you and shit like that. I love going to support my Panthers, but I do love being in the pleasure of my own home as well too.
Gotcha.
But yeah, with that being said, hail to Pitt. Let's go Panthers, baby. I'm gonna be full-fledged rooting them on. I'm just not giving you what I think spread or money line wise and stuff. You know me. I'm a traditionalist here when it comes to my Pitt
That's
Panthers. I
fair.
don't really like betting on them or anything like that. Um, Moving on, we could jump back to some of the noon games. I did really want to talk about this game that interests me at 3:30. I'm talking about Oklahoma traveling to Alabama, Tuscaloosa to take on the Tide. Right now, it is Alabama -6.5. Over under is 45.5. Knock, go ahead, kick us off with this one.
Yeah, Alabama, they're on an 8 game win streak. We've discussed over the past month, maybe 2 months, how they're returning to form. Bama's back, right?
Hmm.
That doesn't mean they can't lose a game,
Right.
and Oklahoma over the last couple of weeks, since the Mateer injury, since he had surgery on his hand, they haven't been able to find it offensively, but that defense is still there. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, what's the spread here? Let me just take a look. It's
Six and a
a five and
half.
a half point spread. I mean, I can see Alabama covering. Oklahoma during the first 4 games, 5 games of the season, their defense was lights out, man. Like top two, maybe top five at the worst. Um, Ty Simpson has been so good all season. I just don't think he's been that great the last couple of weeks, though, if I'm not mistaken. Like, there's nothing, no wow
Yeah.
factor over the last few games from Ty Simpson. So, I mean, I can definitely see that. I mean, he threw for 277 last week, just a mere touchdown, though. So, I don't know here. I think I'm going to have to take Alabama to cover, but 8 wins in a row. I mean, I'm a firm believer in win streaks die, and it's good for teams to lose, this time of year because it's the season's not quite over. We still have about 4 or 5 weeks left. There's still conference championships. So like,
Hmm.
and I'm the type of person who believes like even if it's an NFL team, lose before the playoffs, get it out of your system. No, go back to the drawing board, see where you need to freshen up. And I could see Alabama losing. I'm just not going to take them to lose.
Yeah, I feel you on that. And the thing with it is, if Alabama does lose, that only knocks them to one loss in conference too. So they're undefeated right now. Them and Texas A&M. It is a weird, weird game because, like, I feel like even though Mateer hasn't really played that well, they're still putting up points, and it's with the help of the defense still too. So I do think that they'll probably show up to play. With that being said, this Alabama defense is really good too. I'm kind of on the same page as you with they're just on a win streak. Is it going to come down to, are they finally going to lose? Ty Simpson, one interception on the year that came about 5 games ago, I believe. Is he due for another big one? I don't know. This game is really weird to me. If I'm taking anything, I would take the over at 45.5. And if I'm leaning anyway, for some reason, I just feel like I'm looking at the line here. It might be different where you're looking at it on ESPN Bet. It's +6.5. I kind of like Oklahoma +6.5. I could see it being a closer game, but I could see Bama still winning as well.
Yeah, one
It's
one
just
million
weird.
percent. I mean, Oklahoma in their last 4 games are 2 wins, 2 losses. They had that loss to Texas, that loss to Ole Miss, and those are solid, solid teams. Again, that Texas loss was Mateer fresh off the surgery coming back, so
Hmm.
um, I have a little worry as far as wide receiver depth for Oklahoma. They have some good names, Isaac Satina. They have the tight end Jaron Canuck, my boy. That's fam, but like
Hmm.
and they've got guys, but like they're not putting up great numbers. Again, Mateer since coming back has just not been the same guy. If I'm not mistaken, that surgery was on his offhand. It wasn't on his throwing hand, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't think it was on his throwing hand.
So, I just don't really understand what's going on then. If it was on a Sterling hand and you're throwing for a buck 50 and an interception or two, I can see it. So I don't know. I think I'll have to break that, but I could see Oklahoma winning this game as well. Like I said, 2-2 in their last 4 games. Bama's won 8 in a row. Everybody and their grandma is going to take Alabama. So I agree with the pick, Mike. I
Hmm.
do like 6.5. Um, I'm still riding with Bama though.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, hammer that. The over is looking a little juicy for me, so I do like that. Moving on to another game here at 3:30. Iowa traveling to Southern California to take on the Trojans. Right now it is USC -6.5, over under 49.5. This is a very interesting game to me just because of how I don't even want to say how well Iowa played last week. They really didn't play all that well. It was kind of the help of the home field advantage. The weather played a little bit of a part as well too. That 6.5 does look juicy. The only thing that worries me is just again the consistency of Gronowski. Just disgusting stats right now. We're almost at the end of the year. He just eclipsed 1,000 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Mayava has been able to light up the field. But with that being said, I mean, Iowa's defense is their strong suit of their team, So their pass defense ranks fifth in the country.
Mhm.
They're only giving up 146.7 yards. Overall, they're only giving up 250, which ranks them fourth in points. They're only giving up
Mhm.
13.7 as well, too. So this could be like one of those games. USC just like they're not the same USC we grew up on. It's just so up and down. They hit some strides, they start pulling you back in, and then as soon as they pull you back in, boom, they drop you without an ounce of expectation, and you don't land easy there. So I think with this game, I'm kind of leaning Iowa +6.5. I'm nervous though because the last time I think I took a team going out to SoCal was Michigan and they didn't cover. But I like the 6.5, and if Iowa's gonna win, I think it's gonna be an under game.
Yeah, this is a weird one too. Like you brought up Michigan, Iowa is kind of similar if you really break down their offenses, right? Rushing offenses with I guess you could say a dual threat quarterback. Bryce Underwood's not a guy who's thrown for 300, 360 and 3 scores. He's a young kid, extremely inaccurate, but he's mobile is the point.
Right.
Um, yeah, man, this is weird because I would typically take Iowa on the money line here. They're +210. I love 2-1 odds. USC is undefeated at home, by the way. Those
Mm,
streaks come to an end. It's hard to go an entire season without losing a game at home. But again, you're right. It's just the quarterback play for Iowa is so sketchy. You know what I mean? I don't know
yeah.
what Mark Gronowski I'm gonna get. But Iowa's defense, man, it's just like 13th and 13 points, sixth in the nation. Um, I think I'm still gonna have to give it to USC here. I
Mm,
just don't
mm.
see anything from Iowa's offense. They're gonna have to really, and they didn't run the ball well last week. I think they'll run the ball better this week versus USC, but um, you know, Yeah, this is definitely a weird one. I'm gonna rock out with the home team here. Again, I
Yeah.
would put my money on Iowa. It's just like I'm just not seeing it, man. They're 61st in points.
Yeah.
They can't score,
Yeah.
And USC is out here throwing for 500 yards a game. And defense wins championships, Mike. But in situations like this, offense tends to win. Iowa. But then again, Iowa has really nothing to play for at this point. It's really just
Yeah.
pride and ending the season strong, and they're going to make a bowl game and a much better season than they've had over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I don't feel I mean, I don't feel confident about Iowa. I'll
Me
tell you
neither,
that for
bro.
for
Neither. But
for
I don't feel confident about USC. This is just too weird for me. Give me USC minus a 7. I got 7 on DraftKings even, and
Okay.
that's why I'm taking it because if it lands on just a touchdown, it's a push. So give me
I got
USC
you.
plus or minus a 7.
I got you. Yeah, one real quick thing before we move on. We mentioned him before, but shout out King Miller, running back at USC. He leads them in rushing with 636 yards. For those who aren't familiar with him, he is a walk-on, so does not have a scholarship, but he's stepping up big. He will for sure get a scholarship next year, or he's going to hit that transfer portal and be highly sought after with being so young and having still having experience while being young. So moving on, we'll jump back to the ACC here. This one's going to be a little bit interesting. Virginia traveling down to Duke. Right now, it is Duke minus 5.5, over under 59.5. Um, I feel like we talk about Duke so much, right? Like, and it's so weird because they're 5-4, but they're 4-1 in the ACC. Like, they still have a chance to run the table and get in there and compete for an ACC championship. Uh, Virginia, on the other hand, terrible, terrible loss last week in just an absolute stinker of a game against Wake Forest. Now, Chandler Morris, I don't know. Oh, it looks like there is some optimism that he's going to return on Saturday against Duke. So that does change it a little bit. But the way that Virginia has been playing over the past couple of weeks just scares me. It's been a lot of like nail biters. If you go
Yeah.
back to Louisville, the Louisville game, 30-27 they win. Next week, Washington State, 22-20. Next week at North Carolina, losing or winning overtime, 17-16. Then they beat California by 10, and then they only score 9 points that week. I feel like this is such a weird game. Give me some of your analysis, Knock. Let me see what you're
No,
talking about here
I,
before
I
I make a
think I
pick.
think Duke being the home team has everything. I think the writing's on the wall here, and you said it yourself, Mike. And you like teams to a certain extent, that are able to pull out victories. I mean, that's what makes good teams great. You find a way to win. This isn't the NFL. This is college, and this is Virginia that we're talking about. Okay. Granted, Duke's a basketball school, but Duke, I mean, really, if you look at Duke's losses, bro, they've lost to some good teams. Illinois, Tulane, Georgia Tech, Connecticut. Those are some good ball clubs. Now, coming into the season, would you look at Tulane and be like, oh, Tulane's a powerhouse? No, but Tulane is one of the best Power Five, group of 5 teams in the nation. Georgia
Hmm.
Tech, they were undefeated for a long time, and UConn, they have a quarterback who hasn't thrown an interception yet. So, I think Duke, their problem is they don't have a good defense. Duke's
Yeah,
offense
their defense
is
sucks.
fine. I mean, Duke does their thing offensively. Against Clemson, they scored 46 points. They scored 45 versus Cal. They scored 38 versus Syracuse, 45 versus NC State. And even in their well, like 19 versus Illinois, but you get the point. This is an offense, and Darian Mensah at quarterback he knows how to get the ball into the end zone. And with Chandler Morris being questionable, I mean, I just don't. Virginia doesn't have an offense that strikes me to scare Duke because they don't score a lot of points. It's not like Virginia's got this powerhouse offense. They're scoring 35 a game. They're blowing teams out. They're deadly. You know what I mean? They're a very good ball
Hmm.
club. I like them. I like what Virginia has going on this year. Give me Duke on the money line.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, I think I'm leaning under for sure. If I was betting anything, I would take the under in this game, even though I hate betting unders. It's just the lack of scoring that seems to be with Virginia sometimes. And I think I am leaning Duke minus 5.5 as well. I think that they could get that done. But it's all going to depend on, Chandler Morris and what he's doing as well too, and how his health looks before that game. But with it, like you said, with it being a home game for Duke, they're both. I mean, both these teams are coming off really bad losses. Like I get UConn, is they have a quarterback who hasn't thrown a pick, but like, come on, Duke, like you're in the thick of things in the ACC. Let's keep the momentum going. I know it's not a conference loss or anything, but like, come on,
UConn's
bro.
good
Mensa
though,
two and
man.
I know, but
UConn's good.
Mensa had two picks. He only has four on the season now. He threw two picks. I feel like they shot themselves in the foot more than UConn won that game, if it makes sense, because they came back. Like they were up by like 10 against them at one point.
Yeah, I mean, well, UConn. I mean, I tell you what, bro. We need to talk about them a little bit more before the season ends because they're good. They're a good ball club. Their defensive line got to Mensa late in the game last week, and not to mention UConn's got a wide receiver who is absolutely incredible.
Mm.
So like UConn isn't again like it's so weird today. It's 2025, and there are programs who, when we were growing up, Mike, they're competent football teams now. You know what I mean? There was a stretch where UConn 4 years ago, they went through a 3 year stretch of winning one game, one game, one game, no games. They were
Hmm.
horrible. I mean, they were the
Yeah, they were
bottom of the
bad.
barrel, worst team in college football. They didn't have anybody going to the stadium. So I really like the turnaround for UConn is basically the point, bro. And that's not a terrible, terrible loss for Duke. But I
Right.
do think Duke bounces back and wins this week.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing that made me be like, "Ah, come on, bro, you're losing to UConn," is the loss against Delaware and the loss to Rice for UConn.
Fair, fair.
So that's the only thing where it's like, and they could be turning a corner. You never know there, but I rest my case. I digress. With that being said, so moving on to some of these later games here. One that I think I don't know if it's really going to be interesting. You got any interest in this Florida going to Ole Miss? Ole
None.
Miss minus 13 and a half. Yeah,
No, no.
it's DJ Lagway got benched. He's been
He sucks.
terrible. I have no clue what the hell is going to go on there. I feel like Mississippi State could cover this 13 and a half, but it could be like a little weird, like gotcha, something like that. But we'll move on here. Texas at Georgia. This is a huge, huge game right now. It is Georgia minus 6.5, over unders 50.5. Texas needs it. Texas needs this game. They're 4-1 in conference. They're 7-2 overall. A loss here, I feel like, could pretty much eliminate them from playoff contention. At least I think it should. I don't think three-loss teams should get really into the playoff unless you win your conference. But who am I? I don't have a vote. Knock. What do you got from this game?
Yeah, we only have a few minutes left, so I'll keep this one brief. Georgia, easy. It's just, I like Arch. I really, really do. We've spoken about them so much. We saw, from weeks 1 and 3 to weeks 10 and 12. I mean, he's just grown up so much. Texas is better. I just don't think they have enough offensively to play around with this Georgia defense, man. I really don't. Arch Manning and his consistencies they're going to continue on Saturday. They're going into Georgia 7:30. I just don't think Texas has the weapons. They can't run the football, and we're talking about a Georgia team that's got a solid quarterback. They can run the ball. They've got I'm sorry, I can't remember his first Zachariah Branch on the outside. Like, dude, they have too
Hmm.
much. Georgia to cover the spread.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Georgia to cover the spread too. The home field advantage is going to be something that's going to be huge there, and it's a night game. Like they're going to be ready to play football down there in Athens. And then one last game, real quick here, not just because it's cool. It's being played at Wrigley Field. I'm talking about Michigan going down and playing at Northwestern. It's minus 11.5 right now for Michigan, over under 41.5. Give me Northwestern plus the points. I like that ball club down there.
Yeah, bro, I was about to say the same thing. Again, Michigan, they've got their running back and they run the football, but I just Northwestern, they're playing very well this year, based off of how Northwestern has played over the last few seasons.
They get that new stadium next year too.
They do, they've got something to play for, and this is a big game. You know what I mean? I think Northwestern has a solid defense. It's just their offense. I don't like their quarterback. I'm not a fan of Preston Stone at all. I think he's
No.
going to be their downfall. But if their defense can force Bryce Underwood to be in passing situations, I think Northwestern can cover the spread here as well.
Yeah, I think so too. But that all right, folks, that wraps it up. It's a little bit of a shorter show here. We're on a time crunch. We got some other stuff to do, but we appreciate everybody who tunes in and listens to us. Keep showing us your love and your support. Again, follow us on all socials. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. But let's have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe, win your bets, have some beers, and we'll talk to you guys again soon.